Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my people, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have so many things to talk about, and a lot of dramas are unfolding. As in the case of Nigeria now, which you are aware, So recently, and this man called Ejimako, the lawyer for the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, he came out, and there are some things he said about sit at home, so we did not go down well with so many people. So but as for me, I have to be neutral, but I have my own perspective on uh, on the happenings, and I have my stand. As you know, like every other person, even Mr. President have his own stand. When I say Mr. President, I mean whether Tinubu or Jagaban, he have his stand on the Agberos who are disturbing Lagos, or those who want Oduduwa, and those that want Biafra. So me too, I have my own stand, and on that stand I stand. So if you know my stand, good for you. Or if you think you know, you may never know where I stand. So, but if you follow my videos, you will know where I stand. But it's not about me today. It's about the entity or the so-called entity and the space that we now politically, you know, manage. So, as it is now, it's not a news. It's not new, and it's not a news to so many of you who has been following the happenings in Nigeria, because I know some of our people who are in Nigeria, even in Nigeria there, don't actually care about what is actually happening in the news. So they feed them with everything, and what they just get is what they get. You don't do research, don't try to know, the happenings. But unlike them, most of us who are here or who are out of the country tends to care more about the country than those who are in the country. Take that from me, and that's a fact. Because there are some things you will discuss with somebody who is in Nigeria, then they start to wonder, how do you know all these things? And I start to wonder, how come you didn't know all these things? You know? So it's like teaching them some things that are actually happening in their backyard, which they are not aware of. So, but actually, I know their plight because everything in Nigeria is so expensive. Like, some of us take internet for granted, when you are out of the shore of Nigeria. Why those in Nigeria, for them to afford internet, it costs them a lot. Why the telecom companies are exploiting the average Nigerians? A Nigerian is refilling his telephone data, like they refill their generators on daily basis, just to get some common basic things of life. And the government is doing nothing about that. All these baby companies are exploiting Nigeria. Everybody is exploiting Nigerians. So, being it oil company, petrol stations, or being it the telecom companies and what have you. And most of these companies are even not even Nigerian owned. You know, they are exploiting Nigeria and taking the money and in their baggages and luggages through that airport, bribing the immigration officer and taking the cash out of the country just like that. Hard currencies. So I will suffer these things at the end of the day. So, but the government don't really care because it doesn't really affect them the way, you know. And they don't. In fact, they don't really care. They don't give a damn about anything. So some of them are just waiting for their, for their re-election, while the other ones are waiting to sustain, their dominance over their own people, over their, senatorial district and what have you, and things like that. So before you know it, the 4 years is finished, then they are fighting again for another term. So that is how it has been. So to me, this demonstration of grace has really become very, very clear, to so many of us. So now we're not seeing that that craziness is in most people. So they've been affected, by it, and they don't want to give up. So they hold on to that power as long as they can, and they don't really care what they have to do, to stay there, even if they have to sell their own villages and sell their kings, their chiefs, their own people, their mother, their father, and their generations yet unborn, just for them to reign for 4 years. They are ready to do that. So that's what they'll be doing. So let's get back to the case of Nnamdi Kanu letter that he wrote from the dungeon of the DSS. So first, the headline here said, Ekpa, please, if you know Ekpa, Simon Ekpa describes Kanu's letters as fake. He insists he must address the Biafrans, from Finland. So, Simon Ekpa? So, here they said the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of Biafra, Simon Ekpa, has rejected the letter written to him by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu. Ekpa, in news directives Southeast, sat at home every Monday, described letters read publicly by Kanu's lawyer, Aloy Ejimakor, as fake, noting that the 2 week sit-at-home order issue must be adhered to. So you recall that Kanu wrote a letter to me. Anyone who is trying to legitimize that letter by saying Kanu wrote letter, Kanu wrote, you have to say, if you can say the acclaimed leader of Biafra, then you have to also say the acclaimed letter or the acclaimed written letter, by Kanu to Simon Ekpa, directing him to stop his actions against Southeast governors, and that he equally ordered him to stop Monday sit-at-home order, noting that he has no right to do so. So to me, I know what I think, but what you think is what is much more important to me at this point. So because what this man is just saying, yes, I don't know. So here he said in the post via his Twitter post, the Finland-based Simon Ekpa noted that the letters was a joke and an insult taken too far. He said, given conditions, before he believes the letter came from Kanu, Ekpa stated that Kanu must be released by the DSS and should speak to Biafrans, from Finland. He opined that the IPOB leader cannot condescend too low to write a letter like the one Ejimakor read. Ekpa stated that Kanu was misrepresented in the letter. His words, our attention has been drawn to the fake letter from the pit of hell being paraded by the Nigerian media claiming that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wrote a letter. It is not only a joke, but an insult taken too far, that the letter of the IPOBs is being misrepresented in this way. So, Ekpa said, as the Prime Minister of Biafra, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I call on all Biafrans to disregard the fake letter coming from DSS. We can't take any order from the Islamic DSS, and that is final. So Mazi Kanu must be released, and he must address Biafrans from Finland. That is the condition of the Prime Minister of Biafra and the Biafra Republic in exile. So Ekpa has made his stand known, and I don't think he's changing that stance anytime soon. So, but in the meantime, what do you think? So now here again, to buttress or to suppress or whatever point that Ejimako was trying to portray. Here states that Peter Mba, that is the Enugu State Governor, IPOB lawyer Ejimako leaks private chat with Simon Ekpa. So here it says, Alo Ejimako, the special counsel to the embattled leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has leaked his alleged private chat with Simon Ekpa. Just imagine that. Taking to his official Twitter handle on Saturday morning, just this morning, Ejimako shared a screenshot of the alleged WhatsApp chat where Ekpa was demanding to speak with the Ikunbe governor of Enugu State, Peter Mba. As seen in the screenshot shared by the IPOB lawyer, Ekpa expressed this desperation to speak with the governor. You know, here he said, Ndewo are prepared to roast him, but next time I would have scattered his government today, Ekpa said in the alleged chat while expressing disappointment as he could not get to speak with the governor, Mba. So, but does it really make sense in the first place? I wanted to be neutral in this very case. So, but now, sometimes when they are talking, they talk like they are talking to fools. That is the problem. That's why people have to speak sometimes. You don't just have to keep quiet. Because when they are trying to speak to you like a fool or try to say something to you like a fool and they want you to buy it, then you start to actually wonder, is this so-called man who is supposed to be learned, who is supposed to be a lawyer, is he really smart? First of all, to bring out when you are in the process of trying to negotiate something that you think will benefit your people, then all of a sudden, you can't even wait for a week or so to try to convince that person you are trying to convince that this letter is actually coming from MNK. And now, a few days later, you are just coming out. Then now you want to take the center stage. Then secondly, now you are displaying all these things that were written in secret, all these things that were discussions that was written in secret, because some words sometimes can be said to provoke something so as to get the truth, you know. So you might never know the intention of this man who is trying to use any kind of strategy or or idea, to or psychology to try to know what this man is at. I mean, is driving at, because Ejimako might think that he is doing the right thing, and Ekpa might think that this guy is trying to be too clever, by half. So while at the same time, he might even get verbally agitated with him and he will shout at him and insult him and whatever. And at the end of the day, after all the shouting and things like that, for example, then things will calm down. And from that argument, from that provocation and things like that, only one word we escape from this whole converse that might change the whole, change the whole conversation, and at the same time get you the actual result that you're actually looking for. So that's my take. That is what I think. So why would this guy be coming out and say these are the things that Simon Ekpa said, and whatever and stuff like that? If Simon Ekpa actually, if you think that Simon Ekpa have that power, that that weight to command sit at home, and at the same time you have the same power and followership to also say now we have to stop sit at home, and Nnamdi Kanu was able to recognize that, according to you, and write to this man among all other Biafrans, then you're supposed to also respect this guy to the extent that at least you have to accord him that respect. And if he said, and if you, Ejimako, said that you are being You are being asked by Kanu to do this whole thing, and yet you are working with the same governor of Enugu State. Then you should be able to arrange an ordinary telephone meeting with the governor, at least for let me for 5 minutes, so that this guy can know the sincerity, you know, in which the governor is trying to actually, you know, and trying to actually, bring back peace, and tranquility, to his people. So that would have been a very good thing if the governor was actually serious. So, but it's not about Enugu State alone. I think it's about the whole of the Southeast. So, if this thing affects the whole of the Southeast, so how come it's just only one governor that is trying to facilitate this whole thing without involving all others? So, because normally they used to have Southeast governors meeting, or they used to have their own leader among the governors, maybe a chairman of the Southeast governors and what have you, and things like that. So, if he was that kind of that kind of a person, as the chairman of the governors of the Southeast governors, for example, that is championing this whole peace mediation, then it will also have more weight. So, but if it has to be from one governor after another governor after another governor, then that I don't know. So, but what I'm saying here is that this man, called Ejimako, I don't think, he meant well. So here he said, Ndewo, are prepared to roast him, So, but later, he said, Lol, wutu wutu. He said, but next time, I will have scattered this government today. So this could be a joke, So here he said, Samuel Ekpa he said, please hold fire. By the invitation, I believe he means well. Let's give him the benefit, of doubt. Any scatter you do now will surely be seen as helping his political opponents. So I guess this was Ejimako talking. So Ejimako was being political here. So that's anybody can go through this thing and see where it is and how the discussions went. So because these things are doctored, they are not. They didn't give us the full this thing for us to be able to make our own judgment based on what we see here so far. But my point is that all these things are just being taken to the press just like that, by being doctored like this, just for them to make their own point. So it's like Ejimako actually not wanting, the peace that he pretends to be asking for. So because if actually Ejimako want peace and he want a stop to this sit at home, I think there should be so many ways, that he's supposed to attain that. If you know what I mean. So because right now, if you want this whole thing to be taken seriously, I think Nnamdi Kanu should actually be released because the court has already said so. He should be released. He should not be in jail for one more minute. You can see all these other people. Look at the way they were applauding the court the other day when the court asked DSS to release a former central bank governor, etc. That is when you see some people reading the law and stuff like that. But when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu case, it's like a lot of people has already forgotten that some innocent people like Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention of the federal government all this while. So without obeying the rules of the land and obeying the judgments of the court. So and it's the same court that they always tell these people to and they want the court to do their own bidding. Look at the case of DSS and the former central bank governor the other day. It's like the court released, they took him to court. The court said this man is granted bail on whatever condition and stuff like that. Then the next thing is like, once this man is granted bail, because I was reading somewhere and the lawyers were saying that once a man is taken to the court, then that man is no more under the custody of the DSS, as long as the court has already ruled, which means this man have to be handed over to the prison authority. So the same thing that in the Kanu case was supposed to be. As soon as the court release him that day on bail or grant him that bail that day, he's not supposed to be under the DSS custody anymore. He's supposed to be under the Nigeria prison system until those bail conditions are met. Bail conditions are not supposed to be met at the DSS. So later, on this case of the CBN governor, then they came back again. Then when they managed to, they have to fight the prison authority, openly, very open disgrace that day. They fought them in the public, in the open. Everything was on the media. So then they fought them and they took these people by power because they have guns and things like that. Even when the prison authority called for more backup, the DSS called for backup as well. So it's like they have a big fish. So I guess that man is actually, dishing out money, to settle them, within there, so that they can have, some VIP space, etc. So they don't want to lose that dough. To me, that is what I think. But a lot of other people said that all other politicians are involved in this case. So most of them are scared that if this man is granted bail because they did not work, for him, because all they were working against him while he was in detention or DSS, that he might change his mind and start to, release their names, in one way or another. Because then you have why is he in the prison? Why if it's in the prison authority under the prison authority confinement, that you will have more access, to the outside world and things like that. That you can do a lot of things, how you can commit a lot of things, because most of them are already involved, in the same thing that they are accusing him of, but they want to use him as a scapegoat. That's what we are hearing. So to me, that's none of my business. I don't care what they do with that man. So as far as I'm concerned, that man was a Buhari man. He was there for the Northerners, all those jihadists and stuff. So he did their biddings, for them as against his own people. So that man is a sellout. I don't care what actually happened to him. So I'm just saying that what some lawyers were able to say, or when it comes to this issue, because he's the former central bank governor, so you have access to cash, to bribe and have all kinds of lawyers that are speaking out, in social media and in the media space, or in the news or on televisions, etc. Why some people are even buying airtime and stuff like that just to, speak on this man's predicament. So, but on the case of Nnamdi Kanu, nobody like that cares. People like that don't care about that. The same people who are preaching the law now, the same people when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu, then they will twist that law again, to favor their paymasters, the federal government. So to me, if Ejimakor meant well, then it will have made it very simple. Even DSS and what have you and things like that. The governor himself, if you have that influence, all you have to do is to say, please give me this guy within that DSS space. For example, if they cannot at least ask this man or use their influence to say, let this man go to the prison authority. He's not supposed to be under your destiny anymore. The court has already said so, whatever. So if he can do that, fine. Then if he cannot do that, then the next thing is to say, okay, first of all, release this man. So if they cannot do that also, and they give him, okay, now give me this man for 1 hour. I'm here for a visit. Then they give them some VIP area. You stay there. You will talk to this man face to face. You can talk to Nnamdi Kanu face to face. Nobody stop you from going there. And if you talk to Nnamdi Kanu face to face and Nnamdi Kanu say reason, or if the Northern Governor's chairman or whatever is sent there, and they see him face to face, and they say, from this moment, we are new in this political sphere, as far as you know. So, but we'll do all we can now, from starting from today, that your situation will change. So we have to do things like this, like this, like that, and get you out of this place. You understand? So they will do it. It's very easy for them to do because the court has already said so. So, but even if Nnamdi Kanu have to speak with Simon Ekpa, all the man have to do is just speak at his telephone. He's the governor, for example, and he we call Simon Ekpa there, speak with him, and said, "Do you want to speak with Kanu?" He say, "Yes." Okay, hold on for a minute. Kanu is here. You give Kanu the phone. Kanu will talk to this guy. If Kanu has spoken to Simon Ekpa, all this talk, all this blah 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 blah, that they are spending days and months and this thing hours, to be discussing, and now they are hyping the whole thing again. Bringing bad blood among the Biafrans. All these things would not have happened. It's Ekpa that will have come out and say, "I spoke with Kanu, and this is his instruction. So we are abiding by that instruction, and this is how we are going to do it from now on." Everywhere with calm, then they will know that there's something there in the offing, right? That is how somebody who is wise is supposed to do something. And even if Kanu have to write anything, Kanu should also at least they will have given him that access to at least send something to this guy and speak to him on video with WhatsApp. At least for 5 minutes. You understand? So if this guy see him like that and he sees his composure, knowing fully well that he was not a gun was not placed on his head, that he was relaxed while he was speaking and he was free while he was speaking in that room, and he says so. That would have been a very coded thing between them. He wouldn't have come out and tell you that I spoke with Kanu on video. He will tell you that, I had, whatever contact with him through whatever source, that this source was 100% real. That this is what the leader of IPOB has instructed. People will believe. They will believe. Because as it is now, Ekpa did not trust the family of Nnamdi Kanu. Neither did he trust the so-called Ejimako, the lawyer. So now, it's a big problem. Now, back to the family again. Then Nnamdi Kanu family confirmed his handwritten letter and he sits at home. So this is another issue. The issue now is that if the family says so, we the people believe that, because a lot of people has already believed that Nnamdi Kanu family have been taking money and bribes and all kinds of things from various authorities within the southeastern states. Therefore, that some of them are already sellout. So the family of the leader of indigenous people, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has verified the authenticity of a handwritten letter purportedly penned by Kanu himself. The letter, which calls for an end to all sit-at-home protests in the southeast, was shown to the world by Kanu's special counsel, Alo Ejimako, during the press conference on Friday. However, Simon Ekpa, who identified himself as the Prime Minister of Biafra, has rejected the claim, stating that the letter did not originate from Kanu. The family's confirmation of the letter's validity intensifies the ongoing conflict within the leadership of the IPOB. You hear that? Because within the leadership structure, there's already a conflict going on. While some are for, some are against. The leadership, because of some activities that have taken that took place in the past, which some people read some other meanings to, and so therefore they see some people as another kind of sellout within the frame of that leadership structure. So this comes at a time of great tensions for the group and the regions they represent, underscoring the challenges they face. as they navigate their collective response to Kano's imprisonment and the subsequent civil arrest. So the verification of the letter by Kano's family provides some clarity and means the uncertainties, and there is uncertainties, and conflict surrounding the leadership and future directions of the IPOB. He said, you recall that Simon Ekpa, through his verified Twitter handle, in reaction to the release of the letter, said, our attention has been drawn to the fake letter from the fake letter from the pit of hell, being paraded by Nigerian media, claiming that Nnamdi Kanu wrote. He said it is a joke. Not only a joke, but insult. He said, but insult, but an insult taken too far, for the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Is being misrepresented in this way. You see, as Prime Minister of the Biafra, under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, he said, I called on all Biafrans to disregard the fake. He said, to disregard the fake. He said, to disregard the fake letter coming from DSS. He said, we can't take any other from the Islamic DSS, and that is final. So, as you can see, he has already said what he have to say, and this is what he believes. So it will be hard for you to just, come there and try to want to convince a man who already felt like this. So that is the issue here. So, but in my opinion, what I think is quite different from what others might be thinking. So what you think is very, very much important in this case. So let me know what you think. And at the end of the day, what we all want is the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu as a person, and because he committed no crime for asking for the freedom of his people or for asking for Biafra. So this is his constitutional right. So you have the right to ask, for his own republic or his own nation, as you all know. Likewise, every other part of that country has the right to as well, aspire to have their own country. So because these things are not new, it has happened before in Nigeria. So many other parts of the country has asked for a breakaway of their own enclave or their own part from the country, for them to have their own God-given space and manage their own God-given resources as it then fit. So it's not supposed to be a big deal. But because the Biafra, the landscape of Biafra, or the southeast and the south in general, is the area where the resources actually are that sustain that country all these years. That is why all these people are going crazy whenever they hear about this part of the country trying to secede or try to, ask for their own freedom out of that country, because they've been mismanaged, the economy has been mismanaged, they've been shortchanged, and they've been disregarded, etc. And yet, they are not given their God-given rights to the extent that they appreciate being a Nigerian. So they think there's no need, to be in that country called Nigeria. So will you blame them? So because if these resources were to be in another part of that country, and these people are asking for a breakaway of that country, definitely maybe they will not have had this so difficult, to succeed. So, but as it is, why not sit down and dialogue if actually you don't want them to go, or at least give them their their own autonomy to run their own economy and run their own things the way it was in 1960 and thereabout. So when every region was running their own shows with their own economy, having their own ministers, you know, that manage their own economy in their own regions. So if it's like that, I don't think anybody will be talking today because that is called confederacy. So that confederacy or confederation is what Nigeria actually need. Because while some parts are practicing um, Sharia, for example, then other parts are mainly Christians. So I don't think anything is coming soon that will bring these people all together. So as far as the Sharia North remain Sharia North and the Christian South remain Christian South, no matter how you try to migrate people from all over the place and stuff like that, try to make it look like the part of the South is now uh, messed up to the extent that you think you can now use this thing to control it from the North, to come and influence whatever thing happened in the South as far as politics is concerned. You are just joking. It will not happen. So with all the bloodshed that Buhari has committed and stuff like that, with all the import of the arms and criminals from other parts of Western uh, Africa or other parts of Sahel, the Sahel region, etc., into Nigeria. And by you issuing Nigerian passports to foreigners and stuff like that, to populate your own this thing. You've seen that it didn't work, and it can never work. So because at the end of the day, that's why they are so scared now that maybe someone who is from that region becomes a president. So do you think it will also work? So except the whole system is collapsed. It's collapsed again and rebuilt again. So there's never any time that thing will work. Even if a military come in right now, and that military person is supposed, become a Satan and stuff like that, you still can't fix that country overnight. Because the damage that Buhari has caused for the past 8 years is enormous. It's not something that we can just sit down here and even analyze within an hour of broadcast or 30 minutes of broadcast. No, because the effect will be felt for another 10, 20 years if care is not taken. So no matter what this one do, especially now that it's been obvious that this man who is there right now can't even do much. So the kind of person that Nigeria actually need now is not anybody that have to come from that same school that Buhari is coming from, that APC. Because if you look at the APC, all those people who are just crowding over there in that APC, they are all dumbheads. That's my own opinion. Drumhead, dumbhead, call them any other thing. No. That's what they are. Because they don't have any single motivation of purpose in any way that they will present that will make you to believe that they are going to do something. You understand? Because if you're a marketer, you have to have a pitch. When you pitch your word, that word alone will already show what you are capable of and what you are there to do or what you are there to achieve. So when the president came in and gave his speech, he already said everything. So at the end of the day, when he gave his speech or his speech, people were watching to see the pitch will match with the speech. So at the end of the day, in comparison, they saw that everything was just going east, west. So nothing was in unison. Nothing was coming together. What he said was something else. What they were doing was something else. They talk about subsidy removal. Look at the whole thing. Then you see that the subsidy was not removed. They're still taking that money from the subsidy, giving it to their own friends, etc., etc. And yet they are still taxing the people, and now the people are paying more, double of what they used to pay for their to fuel their generators or their vehicles, etc. Which means the people now pay more for everything, paying it tomatoes that you ordinarily buy, you know, at the street market or in the open market, be it transportation or be it house rent, be it anything, everything. It's not only the things that has to do with importation, because people used to say when these things are like that, then it really affect the importation, which means and Nigerians will not be, you know, encouraged to buy their made in Nigeria product or local products, etc. Actually, it's not like that. It affects everything. Normally, we can make our own fuel in Nigeria. We have local refineries, by locals. These are not big companies. They can do these things. All you have to do is give them, give them these, give them these licenses, to do their things legitimately, while they pay their taxes to the local government where they are working and the state government. But here they won't do that because when they do that, then those companies that or these so-called ghost companies that are said to be importing, fuel into the country, etc., who does not actually exist. Those people will not be able to be making out all this cash, you know, that's free money that they are making. Because right now, we don't know the names of those companies that are importing the fuel into the country. Some said that Tinubu himself and Owando and so many other companies, that are related to the president and the past president, etc., that they all have, a gang of so-called importers that are sharing this subsidy money, which they were sharing since 2015 till date. They are still sharing it. So if not, why would they publish the name of these companies? So if truly NNPC said that the subsidy has been stopped, for example, NNPC is supposed to be Nigeria's uh, Nigeria Petroleum, company, whatever. So, and they said then that by removing the subsidy, it means that there'll be competition, which means anybody is now free to import fuel into the country, etc. That now the market will now determine, the prices. So how come NNPC was able to come out just 2 weeks ago and start telling us that the price of the petroleum products have been raised again? So who gave them the monopoly to be doing that, or to be saying that, or to determine what the market is, the market of the price of goods, or petroleum goods, or petroleum products are now going for in the open market. So that has shown us one thing again, that subsidy still stood. So they try to sell the people to see, how much more the people can take. And now they have already known how much more people can take. So you can take more, more stress and stuff like that, and without breaking. So now they've tried the populace again, and no demonstration, nothing is coming out. So NSC is just talking, raking that they are going to go on strike, and yet they be holding them back with some change, with some money, with some all kinds of bribes and things like that. But let's see how long it will take. So, but I think Tinubu is doing that just to buy time, for the court to rule, so that after the court ruling, then he will know where to invest his money at, whether to invest the money on NSC, or to invest the money or in his pocket and keep it and run when the court rulings against him. That's my take on that. So, but what's your take? Let me know what your take is. Drop me a note, drop me a line, you know. So whatever it is that you think, it doesn't really matter. So, but Nigeria problem is what we are talking about, and it's what we are trying to see what we can do, to at least, if not to solve the problem, but at least to enlighten our people, so that it don't give them so much hope, and at the same time, dash out their hopes, simply because of the politicians who don't actually care about them. So, and those who are fighting themselves and trying to kill themselves over some politicians, please desist, because they don't care about you. Neither do they care about your country, and neither do they care about your whether they are coming from the same village with you, or speak the same language with you. They don't actually care about anything. The only thing they care about is that they are gang of criminals, that they share money with. That's all. And they know that this thing is temporary. So they are ready to do anything. They can sacrifice you just for their political position, sacrifice their village, their town, their kings, their folks for that political position that they now occupy. That's why you see a man who has been preaching goodness, greatness, etc. All of a sudden, he turn around 360-degree and he's now speaking the opposite. So a whole lot of people, you can name a few, like people like what do you call him, FFK, who used to swear that he can never go to APC and stuff like that. Then overnight, he started to tell you that APC is the best thing that has ever happened since Coca-Cola, etc., etc. So let him drink till brother full. So, but as for me and my household, we stand for the truth always. So, my brothers and sisters and viewers, thank you very much for coming by. So give us a thumbs up, please, and like our videos, and drop your comment and let us know where we have to improve. So thank you. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so, and do so. God bless you.